Now, with the Ebola virus being in the U.S. for the first time, it brings with it obvious concerns over containment. Infectious disease control experts say plans for dealing with this are in place, and Dave Delozier joins us now. Dave, since the discovery of this is really the largest outbreak, right?
Yeah, Michelle, this is absolutely the largest outbreak, and it's also the largest world response. Disease control experts say plans have been developed to deal with this day if it ever came.
It's definitely far worse than it's ever been.
A disease that for years seemed contained to a few locations in West Africa no longer is. Now, reaching into 4 countries, the Ebola virus has claimed 729 lives. In an effort to save the lives of 2 American aid workers who have contracted the disease, they are being flown to Atlanta for treatment.
I think it's the closest that it's been. You know, up until now, we've never had any cases even enter the U.S. So this is the first time that this is happening. If everything goes according to plan, then things should be okay.
Dr. Nasia Safdar is with UW hospitals in their infectious disease control section. She says bringing the 2 aid workers back to the U.S. was necessary to save their lives.
One of the obvious answers is that the U.S. has state-of-the-art facilities to be able to treat. And I think now that we know more about how to contain it, and this country has resources that many countries in Africa don't, containment, as long as it's well planned in advance, should be reasonably, should be possible to do and should be feasible.
Dr. Safdar says contingency plans are in place should cases develop in the U.S.
There are some dedicated units around the country that are dedicated to isolation.
And in the unlikely event a case were to develop here, UW Hospitals is capable of mobilizing and treating that patient. They're also capable of containing the virus in a dedicated isolation unit. She says it is the conditions in West Africa that make it possible for the rapid spread of the virus.
That because it's transmitted by blood and body fluids, if there are syringes that are used in one person and not adequately sterilized and then used in someone else, that person would get the illness. That sort of thing, I would hope, is exceedingly rare in this country.
Now, that is what Dr. Safdar calls the silver lining of Ebola, that it is not as contagious as some other infectious diseases. She believes the outbreak in West Africa will eventually come under control now that resources are being moved to that region. And Michelle, today the World Health Organization announced $100 million in funding to help contain that disease.
It's nice that she sees a silver lining in that, but certainly a lot of concern tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dave.
You bet.